Have you ever noticed that no matter where you look online, people keep asking the same question? Who is the supreme god in Hinduism? Is it Vishnu? Is it Shiva? Is it Shakti? Is it Krishna? Or is it something even beyond all these names? This question has confused devotees, scholars, and even Western philosophers for over 200 years. Because the moment you try to answer it, you run into a problem. Hinduism does not fit inside the boxes created by Western religions. It's not polytheistic, it's not monotheistic, it's not pantheistic. In fact, Hinduism is all of them at once. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most complicated and misunderstood questions in world religion. By the end of this video, something magical will happen. You will understand why Hinduism doesn't fight over who God is. Instead, it expands what the word God means. Before we even begin, we need to fix a mistake. When we say God, we're actually trying to translate multiple different Sanskrit words. Brahman, the infinite, formless, absolute. Ishvara, the personal, relatable God. Bhagwan, the all-attractive supreme person. And Deva, a celestial being, powerful but not supreme. Western religions use one word to describe all of these. Hinduism uses different words for different layers of reality. So when someone asks, who is the supreme God? The real question is, are you asking about Brahman or Ishvara or the deity you personally worship? Because in Hinduism, the answer changes depending on the lens you use. Let's go to the oldest scriptures, the Rig Veda. Surprisingly, the Vedas don't begin with a clear, personal God. The famous Nasadiya Sukta says, the gods came after the creation of the universe. Meaning, before Vishnu, before Shiva, there was only Tadekam, the one. Another hymn, the Purusha Sukta, describes a cosmic being that expanded into the universe itself. Later traditions identify this being as Narayana, the supreme Vishnu form, but the hymn itself doesn't name him. The Vedas reveal something shocking. The earliest Hindu concept of God wasn't a person, it was a principle, a cosmic reality. When we reach the Upanishads, the supreme becomes even more abstract. Advaita Vedanta says the supreme is Nirguna Brahman, formless, without attributes. All gods, including Vishnu, Shiva, and Devi, are manifestations within Maya. The final truth is simply, you are that. Tat Tvam Asi. But the theistic schools disagree. Ramanuja, Madhva, Vallabha, Nimbarka all argue that the Supreme must have personality, qualities, and form. They call this Saguna Brahman, the personal God, and this is where the competition begins. Vaishnavism is the largest branch in Hinduism, and it is very clear. The Supreme is Vishnu or Krishna. The Narayana Suktam calls Narayana the source of Brahma and Shiva. In Ishta-Devata, the entire universe is Vishnu's body. In Dvaita, Vishnu alone is independent, everything else is dependent. In Gauriya Vaishnavism, Krishna is the original source, and Vishnu is his expansion. In this worldview, Shiva is powerful but not supreme. Shaivism completely flips the script. The Svetasvatara Upanishad states, there is one Rudra only, who rules all the worlds. In Shaiva theology, Shiva is the creator, preserver, destroyer, concealer, and liberator. Vishnu and Brahma are divine beings, but not the absolute. In Kashmir Shaivism, the universe is literally Shiva's consciousness vibrating into form. Shiva is not a god. He is the one who becomes everything. Shaktism introduces an even more radical idea. God is a woman, and she is the only supreme. The Devi Bhagavata Purana claims the goddess existed before the Trimurti. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva were created by her. Without Shakti, Shiva is Shava, a corpse. Here, the male gods are expressions of the Mother Divine. Now we reach a completely different resolution. Adi Shankaracharya's Smarta tradition says all gods are equal. All gods are forms of the One. In the Panchayatana Puja, the devotee chooses Vishnu, Shiva, Devi, Ganesha, or Surya. Any one of them can be worshipped as supreme. And whichever deity you place in the center becomes your Ishvara, your personal gateway to Brahman. This is why Hinduism is comfortable saying your God is supreme for you. Historically, Ganapatyas believed Ganesha was the supreme Brahman. Sauras believed Surya, the sun, was the visible god. Both are rare today, but they remind us that Hinduism allows multiple supremacies without contradiction. When Hinduism encountered colonial criticism, reformers responded differently. The Arya Samaj said only one formless god exists, and all other gods are symbolic. The Ramakrishna mission said all paths lead to the same divine ocean. This universalistic view is now the modern global understanding of Hinduism. Now, here is something most people don't know. The question of who is supreme isn't modern at all. It has been debated inside India for over 2000 years, sometimes peacefully, sometimes very intensely. During the Gupta and post-Gupta eras, India had thriving philosophical rivalries. Vaishnavas wrote texts proving Vishnu was supreme. Shaivas wrote their own texts proving Shiva was supreme. Shaktas elevated Devi to the highest throne, and Smartas tried to unify everyone under Brahman. These weren't wars, they were intellectual battles, debated in temples, universities, and royal courts. For example, in the 12th century, Shaiva scholars in Kashmir claimed that if Vishnu preserves the universe, he must be inside time. But Shiva exists beyond time, therefore Shiva is supreme. Meanwhile, Vaishnava scholars countered that if Shiva destroys the universe, destruction is still part of Maya. The supreme must stand outside Maya, therefore Vishnu is supreme. These philosophical battles shaped Indian theology for centuries. The Puranas themselves are polycentric. Every Hindu sect has its own Purana, and each Purana glorifies its chosen deity as supreme. The Vishnu Purana says Vishnu is supreme. The Shiva Purana says Shiva is supreme. The Devi Bhagavata Purana says Devi is supreme. The Skanda Purana says Skanda is supreme. And the Ganesha Purana says Ganesha is supreme. Western scholars were confused by this, but ancient Indians loved it. Why? Because the idea was never, my God is the only God. Instead, it was, my God is supreme to me, and yours can be supreme to you. This is unheard of in Abrahamic traditions. Hinduism deliberately allows multiple centers of divinity. Like spokes leading back to the same hub, different parts of India answered the supreme God question differently. North India gravitated toward Krishna and Rama in the Bhakti movement. South India leaned toward Shiva and Skanda. Bengal saw an explosion of Shakta worship. Himalayan regions absorbed Tantra and Shaivism. Tamil Nadu developed Shaiva Siddhanta and Vaishnava Shri Vaishnavism in parallel. Yet, despite radically different forms of worship, no region ever declared the others wrong. This is one of Hinduism's biggest strengths, the ability to remain united while allowing complete freedom of interpretation. One of the most poetic ideas in the Upanishads is this: as is your desire, so is your worship. As is your worship, so is your God. Meaning, a peaceful person sees a peaceful God. A warrior sees a heroic God. A mystic sees a formless God. A mother sees God as a child, like Krishna. A devotee of Shakti sees God as the mother herself. So the Supreme doesn't sit somewhere above the clouds. The Supreme reflects the heart that is seeking it. This is why Hinduism never tries to impose one deity on everyone. It is not about choosing the correct God. It is about finding the form that awakens your devotion. So, who is the Supreme God? After 4,000 years of theology, scriptures, and debate, here is the final truth. Philosophically, Brahman is the supreme reality. Beyond form, beyond name, beyond creation. Devotionally, your Ishta-Devata is supreme for you. Krishna is supreme to a Vaishnava. Shiva is supreme to a Shaiva. Devi is supreme to a Shakta. Theologically, each tradition presents a complete, internally consistent worldview. And scripturally, all gods lead to the same destination. As the Mahabharata says, as rainwater falling from the sky eventually reaches the ocean, so does worship of all gods reach the one supreme. Hinduism solves the question not by picking one god, but by expanding God to an infinite, all-inclusive reality. This is the polycentric absolute, one truth, expressed in many divine forms. Now, after all this theology, there's a very real question left. Okay, but who should I actually worship? In practice, most Hindus don't start with philosophy, they start with relationship. For many, the supreme god is simply the deity their family has worshipped for generations, or the form recommended by their guru, or the form that naturally melts their heart. Krishna's flute, Shiva's stillness, Devi's compassion, Ganesha's warmth. Scripturally, this is called Ishta-Devata, your chosen form of the divine. Hinduism's answer is beautifully simple. Choose the form that pulls you the most, but remember that other people are seeing the same light through a different window. A Shaiva doesn't have to hate Vishnu. A Vaishnav doesn't have to deny Devi. A Shakta doesn't need to reject Ganesha or Surya. You can be 100% devoted to your chosen Lord and still recognize that the underlying reality is one. This is why, despite thousands of deities and dozens of sects, India never had a theological civil war like Europe. The system is designed so that many supremes can coexist, because ultimately, they're all faces of the same infinite. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Hindu philosophy, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, comment which deity you connect with most, and tell me which topic you want next. Until then, Har Har Mahadev, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Krishna. Because in the end, they all lead to the same infinite one.